Morning is not only the moment when we open our eyes, but also the time when the mind has just left sleep and is still soft and fragile. Many people wake up with a heavy head, a slightly tight chest, with yesterday's worries already waiting by the bed. Before taking a full breath, the mind is pulled away by things to do, unfinished matters, and unnamed fears. The body is awake, yet the mind is still wandering. And from that state, the whole day often begins in haste and unease. According to the teachings of the Buddha, each morning is a completely new opportunity. Not an opportunity to do more, but an opportunity to return to ourselves before the world asks anything of us. Just a few minutes at the start of the day, the way we speak to ourselves can shape the direction of the mind for many hours that follow. In Buddhism, speech is not only for communicating with others but also a way of nurturing the mind. Repeating conscious phrases in the morning is a simple yet profound practice. These 5 reminders are not meant to force positivity, but to help the mind remember mindfulness, compassion, wisdom, and peace. Buddhism has existed for more than 2,500 years as a path of practice that guides people back to observing themselves. The heart of this path does not lie in blind belief, but in direct experience through mindfulness, compassion, and wisdom. Mindfulness helps us see clearly what is happening in the body and mind. Compassion helps us treat ourselves and others with gentleness. Wisdom helps us understand the impermanent nature of life so that we suffer less from attachment. In this context, morning affirmations are not a form of self-hypnosis. They are conscious reminders that align our inner speech with the path of awakening. When these phrases are repeated with full presence, we are planting wholesome seeds in the mind. Gradually, words turn into actions. The first reminder is, I am grateful for this new day. In the teachings of the Buddha, mindfulness always begins with recognizing the moment that is present. Upon waking, the simplest act is to realize that we are still breathing, still alive, and still given another day to learn and transform. Gratitude does not arise because everything is perfect, but because we still have an opportunity. When this line is spoken with awareness, the mind naturally returns to the present, no longer chasing the regrets of yesterday or the worries of tomorrow. The second reminder is, I embrace impermanence. Buddhism teaches that all phenomena are in constant change, and nothing exists forever as we wish it to. Reminding ourselves of impermanence at the very start of the day helps the mind soften. We cling less tightly to emotions, plans, or images of who we think we should be. When we understand that both joy and difficulty will pass, we learn to live with greater flexibility and gentleness. This line opens the door to letting go, so we are not carried away by changes beyond our control. The third reminder is, I cultivate compassion for myself and others. On many mornings, the first thing we do is criticize ourselves for not being good enough. The Buddha's teachings remind us that suffering needs to be met with understanding and care. By speaking this line, we set a clear intention for the entire day. We allow ourselves to make mistakes, allow others to be imperfect, and choose to respond with kindness rather than judgment. Compassion is not weakness, but a strength that heals unseen wounds. The fourth reminder is, I walk the path of wisdom. Wisdom in Buddhism is not merely knowledge, but the ability to see clearly the causes of suffering and the way to bring it to an end. This line recalls the Noble Eightfold Path, a way of living with awareness in every thought, word, and action. When we begin the day with the intention of wisdom, we choose to pause before reacting, to observe, before deciding, and to learn from each experience as it arises. The final reminder is, I abide in inner peace. This is the deepest direction of the entire practice. Peace does not come from everything outside being in order, but from the ability to no longer be pulled by craving and fear. When we speak this line, we are not claiming that we are already perfect, but reminding ourselves of the potential for peace that has always been present within us. These 5 reminders are interwoven, forming a solid foundation for living the new day with mindfulness, compassion, and balance. For these 5 reminders to move beyond simply being heard or understood, what matters most is how we practice them each morning. First, choose a quiet space for yourself. It may be a familiar corner of your room, by a window filled with early light, or any place where you are unlikely to be interrupted. The space does not need to be special, only quiet enough for you to return to yourself during the first few minutes of the day. Once you are seated, begin with mindful breathing. Gently close your eyes or soften your gaze, and bring your attention to the rhythm of the breath as it comes in and goes out. There is no need to adjust or control it. Simply know that you are breathing in and breathing out. A few breaths like this allow the mind to settle, releasing it from the habitual rush that often appears in the morning. Then, read each reminder slowly and with awareness. Let each line be a pause. Do not hurry to the next one. Allow the words to resonate clearly within you and notice where their meaning touches you. If thoughts arise, simply acknowledge them and gently return to the line you are reading. As you read, you may connect the words with images and feelings. When speaking of gratitude, imagine the morning light spreading softly. When speaking of peace, sense a gentle softening in the chest. This kind of connection allows the words to move beyond the mind and flow into the body and emotions. Gradually, this practice becomes a gentle form of meditation, guiding you into the new day with greater presence and tenderness. When practiced consistently, these 5 morning reminders carry not only spiritual meaning, but also bring about clear psychological changes. The first line, centered on gratitude, opens the doorway to mindfulness. Beginning the day by simply acknowledging that we are alive and present allows the mind to rest in this moment. Instead of drifting into the past or racing toward the future, attention becomes anchored in the present. This state reduces underlying tension and helps us respond more calmly and clearly to situations throughout the day. The reminder of impermanence has a powerful effect on how we face change. When the mind is reminded that everything is constantly shifting, the tendency to cling naturally lessens. We identify less with passing emotions and feel less panic when circumstances do not go as expected. Psychologically, accepting change helps the nervous system react less intensely. We learn to observe emotions as they arise and pass, rather than being swept up in them or resisting them. Compassion, nurtured through the third reminder, directly affects our relationship with ourselves. Many people carry a harsh inner voice, especially in the morning when energy is low. By intentionally reminding ourselves to treat both ourselves and others with kindness, we soften the habit of self-criticism. This increases a sense of inner safety, which forms the foundation for emotional stability. When the mind becomes less defensive, we find it easier to open our hearts and connect sincerely in our relationships. The reminder of walking the path of wisdom supports awareness and decision-making. Wisdom in Buddhism is closely linked to clear seeing, unclouded by bias or unconscious reactions. Repeating this intention each morning helps cultivate the habit of pausing and observing. Over time, this strengthens self-awareness, allowing us to understand why we react in certain ways and to have more choice instead of acting purely from habit. Finally, the reminder of inner peace serves as a psychological anchor. When we repeatedly return to the understanding that peace does not depend entirely on circumstances, our sense of inner control grows stronger. We no longer wait for the outside world to change before feeling at ease. This state reduces underlying anxiety and increases resilience in the face of stress. The effectiveness of these 5 reminders does not lie in removing difficulties, but in reshaping how we relate to experience. Through mindfulness, impermanence, compassion, wisdom, and peace, the mind is gradually trained to see life more clearly, more gently, and more deeply. This is the psychological foundation that makes the practice sustainable and lasting. Although practicing these 5 morning reminders brings many benefits, the path is not always easy. One of the first obstacles is resistance to change. A mind that is used to operating in familiar patterns often feels uncomfortable when asked to pause and do something new. There will be mornings when you forget to practice, or remember but feel lazy and think it is unnecessary. There is nothing wrong with this. In the teachings of the Buddha, simply recognizing resistance is already part of awakening. Instead of blaming yourself, gently notice that the mind is resisting what is unfamiliar and return when you can. Another difficulty is doubt. You may wonder whether repeating a few lines each morning can truly make a difference. In a world accustomed to quick results, subtle practices are often undervalued. Buddhism emphasizes direct experience. Rather than forcing yourself to believe, allow time to observe. Notice small shifts in how you respond, in your level of tension, in the tone of your inner voice. Transformation often happens quietly before it becomes visible. Lack of consistency is also a common challenge. In the beginning, motivation may be strong, but it is easy to be pulled back into a busy rhythm of life. To maintain the practice, there's no need to demand perfection. Simply choose a fixed time each morning, even if it is very brief, and treat it as an appointment with yourself. Linking this practice to an existing habit, such as after waking up or before drinking water, helps the mind remember. If you miss a day, begin again the next morning without carrying guilt. In Buddhism, community is always considered an important source of support. Practicing alone can make it easier to lose heart when difficulties arise. Connecting with others who share similar intentions, whether through a small group or even one friend, helps remind us of the path we have chosen. Listening to others' experiences also helps us realize that the challenges we face are not unique. Alongside community, guidance from those with experience plays an important role in keeping the practice aligned. A teacher does not have to be someone distant or elevated, but someone who has walked ahead and is willing to share understanding. Guidance helps us avoid misunderstanding, unrealistic expectations, and keeps the practice grounded in humility and awareness. Recognizing these obstacles is not meant to discourage, but to build inner steadiness. When we stop idealizing the path, it becomes easier to continue, slowly but steadily, with patience and compassion for ourselves. When these 5 reminders are practiced consistently and woven into daily life, their impact does not remain limited to inner experience, but gradually extends to how we show up in our relationships. When the morning begins with mindfulness and compassion, we carry a different quality of mind into our encounters throughout the day. We listen more, react more slowly, and are less easily drawn into small frictions. Others may not know what you have been practicing, but they can sense the calm and presence expressed through the way you speak and act. In close relationships, this shift becomes even more noticeable. As the mind becomes less tense and defensive, we are more able to see the suffering of the other person instead of focusing solely on protecting our own viewpoint. Cultivating compassion for ourselves reduces the need to prove anything or to compete. This creates a sense of safety where dialogue can unfold without being dominated by anger or fear. Gradually, relationships are nourished by understanding rather than reflexive reactions. From this foundation, the way we lead and influence others also changes. In the teachings of the Buddha, leadership is not tied to power or control, but to wisdom and awareness. When we walk the path of wisdom, decisions are not made based only on short-term gain or passing emotions, but on a deep understanding of causes and consequences. A leader like this does not need to speak much about ethics, because their way of living becomes a quiet teaching in itself. Leading with wisdom is also expressed through the ability to remain calm in moments of pressure. When faced with conflict or instability, those with inner practice tend not to react impulsively. They know how to pause, observe, and choose words and actions carefully. This creates trust among those around them, because they sense stability and consistency. This influence does not come from position or title, but from the quality of the mind. The energy of peace, cultivated within, naturally tends to spread outward. When you enter a space with a light and present mind, the atmosphere itself begins to change. Others may slow down, speak more softly, or feel more at ease in your presence. Buddhism does not view this as something mystical, but as a natural result of resonance. A settled mind reduces surrounding tension, much like still water calms small ripples. This kind of influence does not require deliberate effort. It does not ask you to persuade or explain. When the 5 reminders become the foundation of how you live, even small actions carry the imprint of mindfulness and compassion. A non-judgmental glance, a measured response, or a timely silence can be enough to create a positive effect. It is this simplicity that makes the practice genuine and sustainable. From here, the wish to share this practice with others may arise naturally, not to prove anything, but because you have experienced its benefits for yourself. When sharing, what matters most is humility. Buddhism reminds us that each person has a different capacity and a different moment of readiness. What fits you today may not yet fit someone else. For this reason, sharing should come from empathy, not from the desire to change or fix another person. Sharing can be very simple. It may be telling your experience when asked, or inviting a loved one to sit quietly with you for a few minutes in the morning. It can also be as simple as living in alignment with your practice, allowing others to notice the change on their own. When outcomes are not forced, sharing remains gentle and free of pressure for everyone involved. In a broader community, individuals who practice in this way contribute to a culture of awareness. When many people begin their day with gratitude, accept impermanence, cultivate compassion, walk with wisdom, and return to inner peace, the overall quality of interaction begins to shift. Conflicts do not disappear, but the way people face them becomes healthier. Yet it is important to remember that the original purpose of these 5 reminders is not to create influence or become a model for others. Any expansion is simply a natural result of returning to oneself. If the mind is not yet settled, trying to spread the practice can create more tension. For this reason, the core always remains sincere practice each morning in silence and awareness. When this is understood, we are no longer driven by the urge to do something grand. We simply live fully with each day, each breath, and each simple reminder. From that steadiness, positive influence naturally appears, like light spreading from a lamp that is lit from within. Practicing these 5 reminders each morning is not a short-term technique, but a long journey of returning and transformation. According to the teachings of the Buddha, the path of practice is not measured by speed or immediate results, but by consistency and sincerity. Each morning, you remember to return to the breath and to speak with awareness. You are laying another small stone in the foundation of your inner steadiness. Some days you will feel light and clear. Other days, the mind will still feel tangled and tired. This does not mean you are on the wrong path, but simply reminds you that you are still human. The Buddha taught that peace does not come from outside, nor can it be given by anyone else. It is cultivated through how we see, how we understand, and how we live with ourselves in each moment. These 5 reminders are not empty promises. They are small doorways that open the possibility of living with greater awareness amid a constantly changing life. If you choose to, practice, begin in the simplest way. There is no need to force yourself to feel special or profound. Simply be present, read slowly, breathe steadily, and allow the reminders to gradually sink into the mind. Over time, you may notice that the way you respond to life has changed. You become less rushed, less harsh, and more able to return to the peace that has always been within you.